Hey, welcome back to the Bootstrap 4 Alpha tutorial. My name is Brad Hussey from bradhussey.ca and codecollege.ca. Thanks for joining me. And in this video, we're going to continue from where we left off and code more of these feature sections in our startup website. All right, so we're going to keep going here and we're going to code these other sections, these other feature sections. They're pretty straightforward, very similar markup. So we're going to speed through it. Not too fast so you can actually follow along, but we're going to go through because we just want to get this look and we don't want to waste too much time on repetitive code. So head into your code editor and we're going to go back to our HTML file here, and then under feature 2 we're going to add some more features. So we're going to go add another section here with the ID of feature-3. It's going to have a child div with the class of container. That's going to have a div with the class of row. That is going to have a div with the class of feature content. You're starting to see repetition here. I've already done this markup. We've done this in the past couple sections. So under feature content, we're going to have a div with the class of call-lg-6 and the class of hidden-sm-down. Sorry, MD. We want that to be MD and down. And then tab that out. And we should have some basic markup here. We're going to have another div with the class of call-lg-5 and the class of call-lg-offset-1. That is basically going to give us a little bit of space between the 6 and the 5 column here, equaling 12 total columns. And then now in our column 6 here, we're going to add an image, and that image is going to have the MacBook.png. Just going to say MacBook. And the screenshot, the graphic that I use here, I use a screenshot from trypap.com. So I just want to give credit there so that you can go check them out and play around with that site. All these screenshots I'm using are from totally random, funny sites. So if you want to go play with these sites, they're actually kind of fun. So yeah, feel free to go check it out. And now in this column large 5, this is where the text is going to be. The wow factor. We're going to have a level 2 heading. This is another one of those slogans from the Shopify slogan generator. Australians wouldn't give a startup.logo for anything else. Totally random. Paragraph with the class of lead, some lorem ipsum obviously. Under that, we're going to have an A with the class of BTN and the class of BTN-primary-outline and the class of BTN-LG. Because it is going to be a button, we're also going to give it the role of button for semantics and get her done. Save. And that feature should be good to go. Let's see what that looks like. Here it is. And it's down at the bottom. You see that style was applied where the image is down margin -8 rem. And so now if I shrink this, that image will go away on medium size. Perfect. And this one actually should do that as well. I think we actually missed that. So let's go back to our code editor here. And in our hidden SM down, this should be hidden MD down. And let's see if that works better for us. So now if I shrink this, it should go away now. Perfect. That's what I want. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so now we're going to add the next feature. And that next feature will be the kudos, the testimonial there. So let's go back to our code editor and we're going to add another feature here after feature 3. And that will be, you guessed it, section with the ID of feature 4. And the class of feature-alt because it has a light gray background just to distinguish it from the previous background. And to give it a little bit more texture. That's going to have a child element with a div with the class of container to get our Bootstrap grid going. That's going to have a row within it, a div with the class of row. And that is going to have a div with the class of feature-content. Pretty repetitive stuff, as you can tell now. And that's going to have a div with the class of call-lg-6. So a large 6 column. So it will shrink down. Under large screens, it will just be full width, not 6 columns anymore. And then after call-lg-6, we're going to get div with the class of call-lg-6 and the class of hidden-md-down. And then now we're going to add some content here. This is going to have a level 6 heading. It's going to say kudos or kiddos, kudos. and then block quote with the class of block quote. In that, we're going to have HTML entity LD quo, which is left double quote, no startup logo, no kiss, and then RD quo, right double quote. Then we're going to have that footer with the class of block quote dash footer. And in there, we're going to have Brelvis Hesley. And then I'm going to have a site tag here. Some guy at a wedding. This is usually where you put like the guy's name and then the company. You know, somebody like Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week. You know what I mean? Something like that. But we're going to go with Brelvis Hesley, the guy who's just some dude at a wedding. That's what we're doing. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then in our call large 6 here, we're going to have an image. The source, this one is going to be Brad Elvis. So the guy at a wedding was actually me dressed as Elvis at a wedding. Brad as Elvis at a wedding. Okay, save. Now let's see how that looks. And if I scroll down here, we should have Brelvis Hesley with his testimonial. But we need that background because nothing, you know, you see how it doesn't look very good separated there. So we need to go back to our code editor, open up our CSS, and we're going to code that feature alt is I believe what we called it. So let's go under feature dark, add another style called feature alt. That is class feature alt, of course. Background is going to be F0, F0, F0. So fo. And then let's go back and make sure that that looks good. There you go. Very subtle background. But we kind of have a little bit of an issue here where the padding doesn't look too good, and we don't want that padding there at all in this one. So this is an exception where we want me connected to the bottom here, but we want the image connected to the top as well. So we need to remove the padding for this specific feature, which is why we use IDs. So this would be feature 4. And so we're going to go down here and we're going to style an ID. And this is going to be feature -4 and then feature -content. And we're just going to remove the padding altogether. And then that should fix that problem. There we go. No padding on this one. So the image is top and bottom fixed right to the top and the bottom of that section. Great. Let's move on to the next section. The next section is basically just a full width image and just more text. So let's go back to our code editor into our HTML here. And we're going to add another feature, of course, and that will be section with the ID of feature -5. And the class will be feature -full because we're going to use some CSS to do some specific styles there. We're going to have a container within there. We're going to have a div with the class of row in there, a div with the class of feature -content, div with the class of call -lg-8, and the class of call -lg-offset-2. And let's fill that out. Okay, and we're going to add another. Well, actually, basically what this does here is call large 8. It's going to be 8 columns, and then we're going to have an offset of 2, which means it's going to be centered. We're just going to have 2 columns of space from the left. So I'll show you what it will look like. So it's centered, but it's not full width. So full width would actually be this. So we have 8 columns. This is 8 column width, and then we have 2 columns here, offset. So it has that centered sort of illusion. Not actually illusion, it's actually centered. But you know what I mean. And now in here, we're going to add our level 6 heading. We're going to say powerfully packed action. And then our level 2 heading, another one of those random slogans, when it absolutely, positively has to be startup logo overnight, whatever that means. Paragraph with the class of lead, lorem ipsum. And then we're going to have another level 6 heading here. That's going to say with startup.logo, you can, and we're just going to have a little features list here. So div with the class of row, and in there we're going to have a div with the class of call -lg-6. We're going to have 2 of those. So this basically means I can, in Bootstrap, you can add rows within rows, and you can have columns within columns. And so this is going to be 6 columns within the 8 columns. So it's going to just measure percentage based or possibly rem based what 6 columns is within 8 columns. So we're going to have an unordered list in here, and we're going to have an li. We're going to have 3 of those, 2 of those. And I'm just gonna actually put some random text in here. So put the features of this is put Sriracha on just about anything, and then use your wallet for everything other than buying things. So these are just nonsense, random stuff. You could put lorem ipsum. You can ignore me, whatever. This is just me just being silly. And then the next one, I'm just going to copy and paste, so you're not just wasting time watching me type nonsense. The other 2 features are get solid advice from mildly attractive people and win at most things. So this is a pretty cool startup. It involves Sriracha, mildly attractive people, and winning at most things. Okay, so those are our 2 columns there. And then we're going to have another image after. And that's going to look for image and then MacBook 2. I'm just going to make the alt text MacBook. And then the screenshot I used in this graphic is from sanger.dk or Sanger or however you pronounce it, but sanger.dk, another random site. Basically, it's just a pug licking the screen for a long time. Check it out. Save that. Let's see how it looks. And there it is. Right there. And if you want to add a little bit of space there, you can use that you could do that in CSS. And that was feature 5. So we'll just go something like feature 5. And then we could say image. And we'll just give it some margin top. Margin top, I don't know, something like 2 rem. Let's see what that looks like. Whoops, I spelled feature wrong. Feature 5 image. There we go. That looks better. Okay, let's move down to the next feature, which is the all-in-one solution. Just a dark one here with an iPad and a mango. Let's go down into our HTML here, and we're going to code that one up. That is going to be feature 6. So section with the ID of feature-6, and that's going to have the class of feature-dark, and then we're going to have a container within there. We're going to have a row. We're going to have feature content, and we're going to have a call LG6 with the class of hidden-md-down. Great. And now we're going to have a little bit more markup here. We're going to go for the call-LG-5 and the call-LG-offset-1. Now in the 6 here, we're going to have an image. It's going to be image. We're going to look for the iPad. I'm just going to do the iPad alt text here. Now the screenshot from this one, that mango, is this website right here, Republique des Mangues. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. .fr. Go here. It's just a mango. Okay. And then in call LG5, we got H6, the all-in-one solution. And H2, nobody doesn't like startup.logo. Another clever slogan generated by Shopify. And then some lorem ipsum in here. And then after that paragraph, we're going to have an A with the class of BTN and the class of BTN-secondary-outline and the class of BTN-LG. And it's going to have the role of button, and then we're going to say mangoes, or in brackets, or mangoes with an E. And save that, and let's see what that feature section looks like. It should look like this. Perfect. It should look so perfect. That's all. It should look so perfect. And now we have 2 more things. We have this 100% no money back guarantee section. That's an awesome deal. And then the footer. So why don't we just hammer through and get those done. Go back to your code editor here, and we're going to go after our section 6. We're going to have another feature here, and that's going to be feature... what's after 6? Section feature 7. So in there, we're going to have container and then a row and then the feature content. And then we're going to have call-LG-8. It's also going to have the class of call-LG-offset-2. And then after that set of columns there, well, within that set of columns, actually, we're going to have a level 6 heading. 100% no money back guarantee. That's a pretty good guarantee. Level 2 heading, put your money where startup.logo's mouth is. And then we're going to have a paragraph down here starting as low as $379 a day and some lorem ipsum. This is just to fill that section out. We're going to have an A with the class of BTN and the class of BTN-success-outline and the class of BTN-LG. That's also going to have the role of button, and that's going to say toss some money our way, please. And then save this. That would be your feature 7. And then we'll move on to the footer. So let's check this out. It looks good. It looks perfect. And now let's move on to the footer, which is very straightforward, very simple, and will take us no time to code up. Now, after our section feature 7, we're just going to HTML5. We're going to add an HTML5 footer tag with the ID of main-footer. And that's going to have a child element, div with the class of container. And that's going to have a div with the class of row within it. And then a div with the class of call-md-6. And then after the call md6, we're going to have a call-md-2 and a sibling of, or actually, no, we're going to have 2 of those, I believe. 3 of those. So call md2 times 3. And within those, we're going to add our content. So md6, we're going to start out with just a copyright 20, let's say 16. Startup.logo is not a real thing. If it is, this site was not meant to be a mockery of it. Just in case somebody out there is actually has a website called Startup Logo. Coded by, I'm going to say Brad, and then you can put whatever you want. I'm just going to put my website here. That'll be coded by Brad. And then we're in these columns here, column medium 2. We're going to have a level 6 heading, and we're just going to have our product. This is just basic navigation to fill out the footer. Common convention in startup style websites. List unstyled. It's going to have an li. It's going to have 4 of them, and they're all going to have a tags within them. And then we're just going to say features, solutions, plans, and sign in. Let's go ahead and copy this because we're going to do the same thing here. And instead of our product, we'll just say our team. And then we'll say stuff like about, highlights, investors, partners. And then we'll paste one more here. And we'll just say other things. And then we'll go jobs and contact. And then why don't we just put some FAQ, save, and let's check it out. We'll have the markup and the layout in there. There it is. Looks pretty good, but we just need to add some style to it. So let's go to our CSS and do some final CSS styling for the footer and anything else that's left over. So we're going to say main-footer, and we're going to say background is that 262 F36 color. We're going to say color white. We're going to say padding is 6 rem on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right. Font size, we're going to make it 0.8 rem. We're going to save that. And then now we're going to style those footer H6s. So main footer H6. We're going to change the color because we won't be able to read them on our new dark background. So color is going to be 718 FA9. And then the A tag, we're going to change the color of those links. Main-footer, A, and the color will be 6C6F73. Save that, and let's have a little check. And there is our footer. Looks pretty good. Actually, it looks like a little bit different of a color. That's a gray, and that's a purple. So I must have done the wrong color there. 6C6, not 6C5. There we go. That will give us the right color. There it is. And so there is our startup style website using Bootstrap 4. A lot of the code and the markup of Bootstrap 4, and it will be responsive. So if you were to scroll down, everything is responsive. Maybe a few things, you know, tiny little things that you could probably change using some media queries and stuff. But that is the startup style website using Bootstrap 4 Alpha. And that's basically it for our 3 projects. The only thing I want to do is up next in our next little section, I'm going to show you how to use Sass. I'm not going to go in depth on how to use Sass and all the different things because it's a huge beast, but I'm going to show you how to install and compile Sass. I'm going to give you my professional workflow when doing professional websites with Sass, and we'll get into that. And then I'll just show you how to just copy the CSS from the startup site and just put it into a Sass file so that you can start Sassifying it. And then we'll wrap it all up. So we'll see you there.